Coffee versus tea for GERD. Overview. Perhaps you're used to kickstarting your morning with a cup of coffee or winding down in the evening with a steaming mug of tea. If you have gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, you may need to be more cautious about what you drink. There is concern that coffee and tea can cause heartburn and aggravate acid reflux. Learn more about the effects of these favorite beverages and whether you can consume them in moderation with GERD. Effects of food on GERD. According to the Cleveland Clinic, 1 out of every 10 adults experiences heartburn 1 or more times per week. Such frequency can indicate GERD. You may also be diagnosed with silent GERD, known as esophageal disease, without symptoms. Whether you have symptoms or not, your doctor will probably suggest lifestyle treatments in addition to medication to improve the health of your esophagus. Lifestyle treatments include avoiding certain foods. Heartburn is often triggered by foods. This is because certain substances irritate the esophagus or weaken the lower esophageal sphincter, LA, which prevents the backward flow of stomach contents that causes acid reflux. Triggers can include alcohol, caffeinated products, such as coffee, soda, and tea, chocolate, citrus fruits, garlic, fatty foods, onions, peppermint and spearmint, spicy foods. You may consider limiting your consumption of both coffee and tea if you suffer from GERD. Both relax the LA. The effects of caffeine on GERD. Caffeine, a major component of many varieties of both coffee and tea, has been identified as a common trigger for heartburn. Caffeine may trigger GERD symptoms because it relaxes the LA. Still, the problem isn't so clear-cut because of conflicting evidence and significant differences within both types of beverages. In fact, according to gastroenterology and hepatology, no studies have been able to conclude that caffeine is a definitive trigger for GERD symptoms. Tea and GERD. The relationship between tea and GERD is similarly debated. While some medical centers, including the Cleveland Clinic, recommend avoiding tea to avoid heartburn, not all tea drinkers experience acid reflux. The more processed the tea product is, the more caffeine it has. Such is the case with black tea leaves. These contain more caffeine than green. At the same time, black tea is more acidic because of the longer processing time. It's important to determine whether you experience acid reflux from caffeine, acidity, or both. There are a few caveats. While the majority of studies have focused on black, caffeinated tea, some types of herbal, non-caffeinated teas are in fact associated with GERD symptoms. Your first instinct might be to choose herbal teas in lieu of caffeinated tea leaves. The problem is that certain herbs, such as peppermint and spearmint, can actually lead to heartburn, too. Read product labels carefully and avoid these minty herbs when possible. The bottom line, with the jury still out about caffeine's effects on reflux, it can be difficult for those with GERD to know whether to avoid coffee or tea. The lack of consensus in the scientific and medical communities about the effects of coffee versus tea on GERD symptoms suggests that knowing your personal tolerance for these beverages is your best bet. Talk to a gastroenterologist if you're uncertain about whether or not to avoid coffee, tea, or both. This specialist can help you identify your individual triggers for GERD. Also, while lifestyle changes can help, they may not be enough to combat all of your symptoms. You may also need over-the-counter or prescription medications to maintain control of your heartburn. Lifestyle changes and medications can help lead to a better quality of life while also minimizing damage to the esophagus.